Good evening, everyone. Manzes okay speaking to us. Today is Sunday, the 5th of December, 2020. Many of us will say, wow, 20 days from now, 19 days from now, in certain countries in Europe, many of you will be saying to yourselves, for Weihnachten, you know, and some of you will be saying Merry Christmas because many in the diaspora do celebrate their Christmas on the 24th and actually not the 25th. Now, this evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome us once more to this, broadcast. I probably would have done this earlier, but as usual, I am caught up in so many things, and that is the only time I do now have the opportunity to speak on this. I had wanted to speak on it earlier in the week, but I didn't get the chance to speak on this. Now, what am I speaking about? And for those of you joining me, if what we will do this evening is a lesson for all of us, especially those of you who are parents to be and those of you who are already parents, meaning those who would have children and those who already have children. Now, the essence of such program that we are having this evening is for us to learn from one another, learn from each other's mistake, if any, because obviously we will not live long enough to learn from our mistakes alone. Now, having said that, without further ado, I will say once more, welcome to this platform. My name is Mazes, okay? And today we will be looking at the death of Master Sylvester Oromoni, Junior. His death at the school where he attended in, Ireland in Lagos, which is the Dowen College. When we talk about the negligence, the question is, are there negligence from the school? If there is any negligence, where are those negligence? Where did they come from? And if so, is there any negligence also from the part of the parents? Because please, this is not a blame game, but it's one of those, he's the same age as my son. So it's one of those things that, as a parent, you begin to, the message, it strikes you, it begins to, oh, what's my moving the other way. My cup is going from top to bottom. Well, come back to life. So, but it began, it's one of those things that begins to really hit home, and you say, wow, wow. So, this thing called bullying can actually take a child's life in this manner. And I find it, really, really heartbreaking. And before I continue, I will say, let me know where you're watching me from and make your comment. I would want eventually, if you want also to make your contribution, I will give you time to join me either here in the studio or you can call over the telephone and let the world hear your own contribution. No one, not even me, is an island of knowledge. We learn from each other. Again, if you would want, tell me please where you are watching from and like and share this video. So let's get started. For background information here, for many of you who do not know the boy in question, the boy in question is late Sylvester Oromoni. Now, before his death, Sylvester was a JSS, that is what we call in Nigeria here, Junior Secondary School 2, because you have JSS 1, which is year 1, JSS 2, which is year 2. He was allegedly beaten, he was allegedly assaulted, and was forced to drink, what some people have alleged that it is a substance acid like, and that the boy eventually died. And the first day I saw the video, I couldn't make any sense out of it. I saw a video and I saw a young chap sitting down, and the mom was crying. They were rubbing stuff on his body. So I couldn't really make sense out of it. But also, there is a video or there is an interview with his dad, that I would eventually, that's going to form the basis of these, these evening conversation, and that would help us to understand the real deal of what really, really happened to this young man. And what happened to this young man should never happen to any other young man. This video in question is from the Punch newspapers. So Punch, I give Punch credit to the video that we're going to use in the analysis of this. Now, however, even today, the parents of the child that is already dead, that is parents of Sylvester, they celebrated his birthday that he was supposed to be 12 today. But sadly, just a couple of days, I think 4 or 5 days to his birthday, he died as a result of the injury inflicted on him by his own cosmate or classmates, however you may want to call that. And many Nigerians have really stormed the social media. Everyone is demanding for justice for Sylvester Jr. with their voices, and of course, condemnation of the act. Lagos State government, this time around, maybe because of NSAS, has reacted. And in their reaction, Lagos State government, through the Commissioner for Education, by name Mrs. Fola Shade, has ordered the indefinite closure of the Dowen College pending the outcome of the investigation. Now, this is where the story starts. Let's now get our seats and hear the real deal. Because at the end of the day, what we do here is we go to the right sources and we get these informations and we distill this information for us collectively. So let's now invite the father of the boy in question via the Zoom interview that was conducted by the Punch newspaper, Njenje. So let's.
He's the father of Sylvester Jr. Oromoni, a GS2 student of Dowen College, Lekki, who lost his life last week. And the father is going to tell us what happened. Already the school issued a statement yesterday saying that, the young boy had just a mild illness and was allowed to go home. And they denied any wrongdoing on their premises. So the father is going to tell us exactly what happened. And feel free to send in questions which we could direct to him. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
Yes, fine, thank you. Let me first start by sympathizing with you and your family over this incident. People who send their children to school do so with the hope that their children will graduate and be able to do a lot with the degree that they've been given. Unfortunately, Sylvester's life has been cut short. Can you tell us exactly, can you narrate to us the events leading up to his death?
Thank you very much. Sylvester Oromoni Jr. was my last child. His birthday is tomorrow. He's going to be 12 years tomorrow. He was born on the 4th of December, 2009. True CS out of 11. And it was the last.
So for those of you, this interview in question was done on Friday. So, when he talks about is going to be 12 years old tomorrow, on Friday, referencing Saturday, which was obviously yesterday. So this is just for clarification here. Now, and as you can see, this is the dad in the middle. On the left is one of the sisters, and on the right is also one of the sisters. So some of you on the Car TV requesting to join the conversation. Obviously, yes, but let's get the background first. So once we do this and we get to the point where everyone, obviously understands exactly hearing from the dad what transpired, you can now come in, and we will now collectively, as Njenje Media community, we will begin to look more into having individual comments and observations.
And what happened was that I sent 4 of them to that school. The rest ones went to Njenje and other schools, but 4 of them, the one I sent to that school. The first one, God is great, finished some years, 2 years back. It's in Canada. Then the second one finished this last semester, this recent WAEC, this last section. She's the one sitting on my right, the same school. Then this one on my left, she's in SS1. And my son, Sylvester Oromoni Jr., was in SS2. It was not the 2 of them that were left in that school before this incident. Now, sometime October, before then, we've been experiencing so many things. If you give this boy 50,000 naira provision, it doesn't take him 1 week. But he will refuse to talk what is happening to his provision. His clothes, his shoes, any good thing that he has, money. So we now decided that we give the money to the house master, one Mr. Ahmed. Then this October month, after October, towards the end of October, they wanted to beat up our brother. What happened? So somebody told her that he said he saw a private part.
Okay, so before we get to this segment, now here is one thing that I want us to be taking note of. The dad said that they normally give him 50,000. So within 1 week, the money is finished. So when he asks, what did you do with the money? Now, the boy says nothing, obviously. And they started giving the money to the housemaster. Now, early signs already is non-communication. There is a communication breakdown. The boy is not able to divulge what he's going through. Now, and as part of that is, again, what according to the dad, the missing items. When he goes back to school with some items, these items are no longer in his possession. So if these items are not in his possession, question is, where are these items?
The boy said no, that in the hostel, they asked him, have you seen your sister's private parts?
So again, this is where one of the individuals being accused, the conversation is obviously like boys do, and they harassed him to admit that he has seen one of the sisters' nakedness, as if we may permit me to put it that way. But again, I think the dad will do justice to that and explain that more.
Nakedness. He said, no, they're my sisters. How can I see they are naked? Then they started beating him. That unless he said, he should tell them he has seen their private part. That's the only way they will stop beating him. So you have to agree, yes, I've seen their nakedness. So one of these boys, what's his name? The favor, is in the same class with you, the same set with this my daughter. It wasn't the one who informed you that your sister said, your brother said you have seen the private part.
Yes, it was the one that told me.
The same boy that threatened him to say he has seen his sister's private went to the sister. This was the number I said, he has seen your private part, your nakedness. That was why she wanted to beat a younger brother. So when the boy now explained, she left. So when they came to the house during the meeting, they brought up this matter. I said, okay, my senior son who is in London now, Kenneth, his name is Kenneth. And I went to the school, called the school authorities, and I explained to them. According to them, they invited these boys. They even told us they suspended them, this same boy. So after the meet and greet, all of them went back to school. That was the first incident. But this one that happened last weekend. Last week. But we got the call on Monday. They called my wife on Monday. But I can't specifically say it happened on Saturday or Sunday. Because on Monday, it was a nurse from the sick bay that called. A nurse, not even the school authorities. Called that Sylvester Oromoni Jr. is sick, that is in the sick bay, that the parents should come and carry. That Monday it was late. And my son, the kid, the one that is in London, was also in worry. Myself was in worry. Then the mother too, all of us were in worry. Then one of our boy, his friends, we asked him to go and carry the boy on Tuesday from the school. What happened? We now called the house master, Mr. Ahmed. He now said, Sylvester Oromoni Jr. said he fell while playing football. Yeah, are you sure? So when the boy went to the school to pick him that Tuesday, the boy said, this one is beyond fall. That the whole body, if you even want to carry him, he couldn't move. If you want to carry him, anywhere you touch, he'll be shouting. And he will open his mouth, put his hand here. Then what happened? The mouth here started having sign of peeling. You know, like when fire burns somebody, immediately it will not peel to that red color, whatever. It will look dark first. Then finally it will now peel off. That was the beginning. So the boy now called my son, who is his friend, Kenneth. Said, this boy, body serious. The boy could not start. The boy could not eat. The boy is shouting my mouth, my waist, my back, my chest, everywhere. It's okay. I'm now asking us to go to Lagos on Wednesday. So Kenneth now, he flew through Benin to Lagos. I went to Asaba. When he got to Lagos, got to the house, Kenneth now called me, my son had called. Said, Daddy, this case is beyond me staying because he's traveling to London that Saturday. I said, okay, don't worry, I'm coming. In the night, nobody will sleep. You have to carry him to toilet. If you want to woo, you carry him. Anything, then you will turn him. He'll be telling you, press here, press my chest, my throat. Turn me, to carry the legs more small. Every part of his body. What happened? He will tell you, I fall. He will not tell you what happened. Fall. Your leg, the school said you have fracture in your leg. This fracture in your leg now turn to every part of your, including your mouth, inside your tongue, your throat. Okay. When I got to Lagos that Thursday, I asked my son, because he didn't sleep throughout the night. So go to your room and sleep, I will be with him. So I was the one carrying him throughout the night. Nobody sleep. I didn't sleep. So the evening I made some contact to get flight back to Warri with him that Friday. That was last week Friday. Flights everywhere is fully booked. Benin fully booked. Asaba fully booked. Warri fully booked. We now decided to take road. My son has a truck. Then me to have to have a mobile to come from Warri to wait for us at Njenje and about.
Now, what we're going to do is because the dad did mention about something. The dad talked about how the young man was really feeling, when if they touched him, how he was feeling. Now, this video might be distressing to some people, but it forms the basis also of the conversation that we will eventually have later. Now, some of you might find the following video distressful, but obviously it's something that should be shown because all of us need to learn one or two things from this video. So that's the young boy in question here. That's the one in blue here. Let me put so that's the young boy here when he was being assisted. You can see how the dad, you can see how they now started carrying him. This is a boy sent to school, and he came back in this way. Yet the school that ought to have the custody of the young man is in any way not providing. You can see him here. Look at his mouth. The school was not able to really give account as to what really happened to young boy that was put under their care. And sadly, eventually, the young man didn't make it. Once more, I say, may his soul rest in peace. So let's get back to the dad to continue the discussion before we
met
jump
at
into having any conversation.
When I proceed to work. That was how I was petting him. He would sleep on my lap. Sometimes he would say, this side, turn this side. That was how we were doing till we got to work. But the road was very bad. That time they blocked Benin bypass. So we had to suffer miss road till finally get to work very late in the evening. So as I got to work, I now said for one of our uncle, how to massage. I said, let him check the leg. If there's anything like dislocation, since it's football, then towards the waist too. The man checked the waist, said there's nothing like dislocation. I said, but the laps, the ears too, everywhere is swollen. Then the chest, then this shoulder. Is it right shoulder? One of the shoulder.
Left shoulder.
Left shoulder. What is it like?
The bone was not showing.
The bone, that one. One side the bone was swelling. The other side the bone was not swelling. It's swollen.
And sir, he did not tell you all through when he was going through this pain. He didn't tell you.
He didn't confess anything, my brother. He didn't, even that time, when he confessed that time that the harassment, the first one, he was crying. He said they will kill him.
He had told you before that they have been bullying him.
They will beat him. They will beat him. So my son should take it easy. So, but my son refused. He went to the school. The school said they've taken care of everything. They're now moving from but they put that small boy and those big boys at the same upstairs. The same room. How can they put SS1 boys and there's two boys, SS2 boys, SS1 boys, and there's 2 boys in the same room? See? So they're now moving from that room to another room where it's made according to the school authority. They did that. Eh? Yes. My daughter said they did that. He has not been eating. They gave him a drip that will let him get appetite. That one, they don't mix that one at all. Just plain something. That's one. Then after they now give him the fever drip. Then they still give him that other one to sustain so that he will not be hungry. That was on his bed. They started beating him. With belt. They beat him. Then he fell from his bed. They started mashing with a leg. So that all these places that are paining him is as a result of those smash bruises. He said nobody, he did not play ball with anybody. Then at the end, they gave him something to drink. He did not know what they gave to him to drink. That was the confession of the boy.
Was he able to identify the boys that did this?
Yes, he said because he said there were 5. He mentioned 3. He mentioned Benjamin Favor. He mentioned Aslem Temile.
Aslem, what's the name?
Aslem Temile.
Okay.
Benjamin Favor. Then Kasamu Michael. Kasamu Michael. Yes. He mentioned those 3. So, but because the place was dark, the other ones, he was hearing their voice when they were beating him, but he could not get, he can't remember their names. So, but they were 5. Then, according to him, they said, they tell all the rest people, maybe whether they send them out or they gather them in one place, that we did not ask. He said, if we not talk, we'll kill all of you. If they ask you, tell even the school people, say you were playing ball, say you fall. They threaten them. So the children said, We will not talk. We will not talk.
Um,
So up till this time, it's because of that threat that made him not to say this thing until that Monday. That's so as soon as they finish that, we now ask, okay, since it's bruises, let them take him to somewhere where they will carry out X-ray and scan X-ray all over his body.
That's X-ray was just his leg.
And the one they did in Lagos, the other did in Lagos, because he could not stand up. Since he said it was a leg, they did from the front waist down to the leg. It wasn't the whole body.
So during the incident, when my setmate boys heard, they were on third floor because they keep the SS3s and I think some of the SS2s on third floor. So all of my set boys went downstairs and took him. And the next day they came to school and they came to tell me, oh, Amira, see, we took your brother, don't worry, nothing happened to him. We took care of your brother. They almost beat him, but we took care of him. So I don't know if it's that feeling of, okay, they've protected you too much. Let's wait for your sister to go. Let's see what happens. So it's like every little thing he does is like they put their eye on him to make sure they do something to him. Because in GS1, the incidents we had were the provisions and his things getting stolen. Even the first week he started school, his things finished. And my mom went to Lagos to visit him because he's her last born. He just entered secondary school. She was in Lagos. She wanted to see him before she traveled back to Delta. So when he told her that, oh, my things were stolen, so she felt like he was being careless. She felt he was being very careless about his things. So she scolded him, but then they replaced the things. So from there, another incident about the provisions came again. So that's when he kept him with Mr. Ahmed. So they've been keeping him with Mr. Ahmed for a year now with his money and everything. So none of the things have been, so if any minor incident with his setmates should come up or anything, he always used to report to me. I was the one that they called this when this event happened in October, when my sister called me to complain that, oh, see what her friend told her, that my brother went to say that he saw me naked and all. And then I called him I called Mr. Ahmed's phone to speak to him, and I started scolding him. He was quiet on the call. That's one thing I had to understand, that he was quiet on the call. And normally, if you do something like that proudly, there's a way you also try to defend yourself. So, but he didn't try to do any of that. He was quiet, like, okay, I seem to deserve this. You understand? So when he told me that they beat him up, my brother called me later and was scolding me because I just left the school. So he's like, how can you just leave? And immediately, there must be something wrong. And he was
and they said they were going to ask my brother and Favor for their own statements. So after that, I think the matter died and I just let it go. So moving on, when now I'm hearing from my dad that the school said that they suspended them the last time. It did not happen. They weren't suspended. I tried my best and I tried several times, and people were trying to even say that why was I not forgiving him? Things like, I was very bitter throughout. I said I would make sure that they were suspended.
Who were the boys that you wanted to get suspended?
Favor was the one asking the question. So yes, him. Favor Benjamin.
Okay. Since this incident happened now, what action has the school taken? Is it that these boys were suspended? Because I'm hearing now, we're seeing on social media, they said the boys have been, if they've left Nigeria, some of them have flown out of the country. I don't know. What are you hearing?
We will not know much about the boys' position now. The schools explained the position of those boys. Because as soon as they finished the confession that Monday, my son in London got a call across to the principal of the school. He called the housemaster,
Mr. Ahmed.
Mr. Ahmed, the housemaster.
Yeah.
What's the name of the principal? What's the name of the school principal?
Mrs. Adebisi Laiwola. Mrs. Adebisi Laiwola.
Okay, Mrs. Adebisi Laiwola. Okay.
Go on. My son in London, as soon as the boy finished that confession, mentioned those boys' He now placed a call across to the school. They called Ahmed. Ahmed was crying. Said, Ahmed, I want to see your face. I'm calling you on video call. Now, please talk to me on video call.
I saw that.
You saw that, eh?
I saw that part, and they didn't want to let me know of what had happened. So they let me leave the place.
Oh, they allow you to leave the place?
Yes.
They don't want you to know that
they didn't want me to know that
it's dead. Okay. So the faces of those boys. Tell Nigerians the true story of the death of Marshall. Because if you are playing football is not played alone. Those who played the football with him, there are those who were, like as he confessed, he was in the room. Those who were in the room with him, the other people that were in the school, they asked masters, and even if they are playing football, that's watching them. There must be somebody that is there, either ask master, security, or whatever.
Okay, so you've heard this story and you have this narrative from the father. Now, this is the closest we can have, at least someone who is close to the boy in question, someone who is part of the family. In this case, he is the guardian to the deceased. Now, the reason why I chose this topic and the reason why this conversation this evening, and the reason why I would implore you, if you wish to call, the number to call here is +234-708-004-2206, and this is WhatsApp number only. Or you can see in the comment section where we've sent the link to join the studio here. Now, once we look at this, these are the points that I want to bring to us. One, we can see that there was initially non-communication. That's a very clear sign of bullying when the young man is being bullied and threatened at the same time, that if he says to either the school or to the parents what is actually going on, then he is going to be harmed, and hence him not saying anything, even when the dad obviously the dad asked several times what the problem was, even the mom, the siblings. Now, at the same time, if you also know how these things happen, you can say that the school, I think, is where the greater tragedy happened, because the school failed in the duty of care. The school failed to take care of a boy that was handed over to them. I think we have our first caller from the United States of America. So, hello, caller. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, Mazi, good evening from here. My name is Opara Onyebuchi.
Yeah, Onyebuchi, good evening.
Thank you, Mazi. This story is so pathetic. It's unbelievable. Anyway, my take on this is because, you see, initially the parents supposed to know that there was something going on when the boy could not say anything. You know your child, you know how he behaves. When he talked about the nakedness of the sisters, I think they should have taken some cognizant steps. That's one. Two, the school doesn't deserve to be inexistent anymore because they were hiding so much. A school like that, and they have these are cultists. These guys, it's like they were trying to initiate this into their cult. And remember, these cultists always go to the people that their parents are up and doing, well without parents. That's why they started taking his provisions initially and the rest. Thirdly, the sisters, they should play the major role too. When you knew that your brother is being threatened, they call you, they do that. You should have known that you have seen the handwritten on the wall. They would have told the parents, please, why don't you change this school? This guy has started complaining. Unlike the senior brother who was in London, because it never happened during his time. So finally, so I will allow others to contribute. I think the government of Lagos State did the best thing by closing down this first. they need to carry the proper investigation. They need to carry proper investigation to get all these people that were involved. Even if they fly to Bermuda Triangle, they need to be gotten and come and face the wrath of the law. Because if not, if I have a child in this school, definitely I'm going to pull him or her out of this school. So they need to get these people out and punish them accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being to the point as well. Thank you. So obviously, you are very much on point and to the point you raised. I think I have someone joining the studio now virtually. Can you please stabilize your camera, or Doom Precious, before I call you up and ensure you are appropriately dressed before I bring you up, please. So you are welcome to Njenje Media Studio, Orodum. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine. I'm already
So,
fresh.
what's your contribution? Where are you joining me from?
I'm joining you from Oka, Anambra State.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, I usually follow your programs, but
Thank
this
you.
one to me differently. I feel, first of all, you've said it all. This is like a totality of different problems coming from the angle of the parents, coming from the angle of the school itself, and coming from the angle of the government. I've been opportune to pass through primary education, secondary education, and tertiary education. And this is not a new thing. Even you can testify. If anybody that's schooled in Nigeria, most especially secondary school, we all know, we are all aware of this bullying from the senior students. It's not a new thing. Every parent should know about this bullying from the senior students. Then when I was in secondary school, though everyone are not the same, then when I was in secondary school, I schooled in Anambra State, not to mention the school. I schooled in Anambra State, and the bullying there was excessive. You're bullied, and I didn't tell my parents right from my JS1 to my SS1.
Yeah,
That was
that's
when I
the point. So sorry. Why didn't you tell your parents? They are your parents. Didn't you have that communication line with your parents that you could actually confide and tell your parents that this was happening in school?
Okay, somehow I'm trying to speak for him. May he so rest in peace. I'm trying to put myself in his shoes right now. During my secondary school days, most times as children that we are, we tend to have that feeling of when you report, you think, okay, nothing is being done about it. You still go back to that same school and meet those set of seniors. I can't hear you.
No, go ahead. I'm
Okay.
listening to you.
There's this time this thing happened. I wanted to iron my clothes with my own iron, and that morning. So when I went outside, because we do iron our clothes not in the hostel, outside the hostel. So there's this senior that came, and then he was like, he wants to make use of my iron, and I gave it to him. He was making use of it, and I was just watching him. So after everything, he told me that when I'm done with my own iron, I should get it for him. And I saw it as my own iron, I should get it for you. I disagreed doing that. So I went back to my hostel, and then at night, as late as this same problem, as late as 11 p.m., he came into the hostel, there was no light, and then he started looking for me. He said, "Where is Precious? Where is Precious?" And due to that fear, I hid under my bed. This was my JS2. I hid under my bed, and then he later found me. He took me upstairs. They told me to lie on the bare floor, sorry. And other seniors came and were shouting at me, okay, I don't dey grow wings. Okay, I'm trying to form for them. Before you know it, they gave me a punishment on my own iron. They told me that I'm going to sweep their classroom for being disobedient. Then the next morning, due to juniors, they have their own chores. They sweep the compound. We are assigned different chores to do, both the washing of toilet then and everything. So I take all those as disciplinary measures so that we learn because we're out of home, we are in school to learn. So finally, that morning, the I met one of the seniors, the one, out of every seniors, there are those ones that relate to the juniors well. So I was talking to him, then said, he heard something that happened at night and now explained to him. It was not like, okay, have I done it? I told him, no, I've not done it because I have the ones that I'm supposed to do. So due to that statement I made, he like went and told the other seniors. Then the other seniors, they called me up. They told me that I should, there's a particular punishment posture they told me that I should take. And then when I was doing that, that was in the morning. I'm supposed to be preparing for assembly, morning assembly. The senior prefect came, flogged me. Even I injured on my neck here, back of my neck, and blood was coming out, like it stained my uniform because we usually put on white short sleeve. It stained my uniform. But the thing that happened is I went and I reported it to the matron, that's hostel
That
mistress,
that was the
and
next
what
question
she
I
did
was
was,
about. That was the
yeah,
question I
yeah,
was about asking you. Did you not
yeah, I
report
actually.
the incident?
Yeah, I actually reported the incident. So when I went to the matron, I reported it. Then what she did was she called the senior prefect. She cautioned him and told him to apologize. So of which he did. But this doesn't stop there. This doesn't stop there. You need to create measures. Like measures need to be put in place. It doesn't just stop at don't flog again. Watch what you've done to this person. Measures like when a particular senior student have known that his mate was being sent out of school, not suspension, expulsion, like stringent measures, not just like I heard what the sister to the boy said, the deceased said. She was like suspension, and I felt I was like, if you suspend these people for 1 week, probably they are going to come back at you. That would have been the case. Even if it didn't happen this way, it's going to happen the other way around. And again, the government need to, it's not all about opening up schools because of the knowledge that they get there. People come from different walks of life. Okay, as you know, they are from Delta State, I think Warri, and they went all the way from Delta to Lagos. Some people would come from the northern region to that school. Some people would come from the southern region to that school. So many places they come together. And these things are people coming from different families that have different ideas. There are some people that their parents do scold them like very well. This is how they're trained. And some people doesn't know what it means to be flogged. So you bring all these people together in one environment. One thing you would know is there might not be that understanding. Due to this person is being trained this way, he feels okay, this is the right way to be trained.
Okay.
And this person has not, like, you've not experienced such training whereby you're being flogged 20 strokes of the cane. And some people you might flog someone 50 strokes of the cane and the person comes back and is okay and is doing that same thing again. And there's some people you would flog 50 strokes of the cane and is hospitalized. So those are the things that we should check. There's the problem of the government whereby they don't watch these schools. These schools are meant to be kept on watch, not just to open schools. Are you paying the tax, the money you're meant to be paying to the government? Are you doing this? Do you have complete number of lockers and the rest of them? Do you buy textbook from our board and the rest of them? They are meant to go out of their way to monitor these students. I think they do this in the Western world. I don't know why it's not being adopted here. And
Okay.
then
Thank you.
parents,
Thank
they
you.
should monitor their words more closely and listen to what they say.
Okay. Thank you very much. I do appreciate I appreciate the insight you've given as someone who obviously was once part of the private school system. And I do believe that once, you said you schooled in Nauka and you did stay
Yeah.
in dormitory, right? You stayed in the boarding
Yes,
school as
I
well.
yes I did.
Okay, so it is indeed unfortunate, but again, like one of the comments here read, I think that's from Ken Ribar. Obviously, in his submission, he says that it is easy now to point out these things, now that it is very obvious that these things are happening. But again, um, you know, as parents, most times people don't think it would actually happen to their kids, but this is indeed an eye opener. And once more, um, Oredum, thank you very much. You made indeed fantastic points, and your points are well taken. But at the end of the day, this is the reason why we're here to learn from one another. One thing, even from what you said, that I can link to the incident of this Sylvester is where you were punished, and apparently there wasn't
Yeah.
appropriate punishment for the individual that actually did that to you. I think one of the things governments would have to do more is in encourage the schools to have a process of escalation. That if someone, even if it means even if it means anonymous, that if someone notices that Mr. A, or rather Master A or Student A, is doing something to Student B, and they are afraid, they could actually have something like um, box, either complaint box, letter box, whatever it is, where students can go in, put in, and say, this is anonymous. Nobody knows who wrote it. They say, this is happening. Please look into it. And I think
Okay.
another failure that I found in this story is I mean, honestly, this young boy was failed by a lot of people, and that must be said. I watched a video where the mom was crying, saying that she should have, you know, insisted more. Like one of the time, the mom said, once he was about going back to school, and he said, "No, mom, please, can you change school for me?" And the mom said, "No, I don't want to change school for you. Sorry, okay, why?" And the boy said nothing, and the mom didn't dig deep. Now, if a child says something like that, I think it behoves on the parent to really find out why. If it's on a frivolity, oh, I don't like the school, maybe my friends are in the other school, for me, that's more like frivolity. But if I believe that that point, which the mom now regrets, obviously, but no one is to be blamed in this point, I believe if
Yes.
the mom
Yes.
at that point really insisted in finding out what was the issue, maybe the young boy would have opened up at that point. But again, the rest is history. So the housemaster, I think this is not only a case of the principal, the housemaster has a case, really a deep case to answer. I think he's Mr. Ahmed or whatever it's called. I think he has a deep case to answer because these children, or housemaster, house, whatever they call the individual, these children are left under your care. And at night, something like this is
Yes.
happening. It makes me now to begin to actually think maybe, the school should start thinking of putting CCTV in the dormitories, because if it's an open dormitory, they could have
Yes.
one CCTV there that could begin to capture what happens at night. Okay, while these children are sleeping, I mean, it's not infringing on their rights, it is for their safety. Okay, so
Yes.
it will help to minimize someone waking up around 12 midnight, opening somebody's locker, stealing something. So that will stop. This type of abuse would also stop. I believe these are things schools, those of you who are watching now should begin to think of doing, getting, using technology to fight this thing, because it is unbelievable that a child that was sent, and millions, that must also be emphasized, millions paid for you to take care of this child. I believe this child, you know, a lot of people failed Sylvester, and that is the sad part of it. A lot of people failed him. Yeah. So your
Okay.
concluding thought before I let you go. Thank you very much.
A minute of my final contribution. Another thing I noticed is most parents feel that think annually or termly PTA meetings that are being convened by the school, they feel it's all about come and make your donations maybe towards the development of the school. Most times they don't know that these things go a very, very long way. When you go there, without the parents bringing in their words to the school, there is no school without the words of which you would agree to.
Sure.
So when you go there, when you go to these PTA meetings, that's where most rules and regulations that guide the schools are being made. That's where submissions of parents, maybe probably your child reported a particular thing to you when she got home or when you got home, and then okay, you're telling the school that this is what happened, and okay, you can prefer a particular solution to it. Those are the times where parents can actually speak up. Okay, now let me tell you what my school did after all these series of events happened, not just to me, to other students too. What the principal did is this thing that they normally do to witnesses in court. I think they said something protection, something that concerns their
Witness
protection.
protection. Yeah.
Yes, that policy. They, if a student, a junior student, reports a particular thing that a senior student does, there is this protection uh, strategy that our principal adopted then that made junior students to speak up the more. Do you know that something as little as eating a junior student's food gets reported the next week, Monday? And the next thing the principal does is he finds out a particular stringent punishment, like you're going to do hard labor, and not just that, you don't that like it's like you're signing a particular statement that you're not going to go close to this student. In fact, that particular senior student now is scared of that junior student because he gave more power to the junior student than the senior student. Because the junior students now have the power of their voice, and he removed the authority of a senior student to be able to flog a junior student. Any junior student that does something wrong is being reported to the housemaster, and then the housemaster takes responsibility of. Because I don't see a situation whereby these students, I was opportune to see some of their pictures, though unconfirmed. They look so young, and I don't see you charging them to court. I'm not sure it will result in anything
I
good or
don't. I don't.
something profit.
I don't know the legal part of it, if they would eventually be charged to court. But obviously, I don't think it will be without any form of consequences. That is, obviously.
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's
So
it's it's there is a lot to do with the safeguarding issue here, and I think if you actually look at it, it's the same thing that eventually plays out in the larger society where people are being lynched and without any form of confirmation. People stand by and watch, because I feel like not only that the school authority failed, the housemaster, parts, some minor blames could go to the parents for not really pushing
yes,
hard to find, maybe little to the with the sisters or the siblings, but again, more also to the colleagues, who were in that hall. None of them was able to do army ball a little bit because all they needed to do is to do some army ball. But again, another story that I read this afternoon says that when they told the housemaster, and he now was saying, yeah, they stuck with the story of football, so let them not. But at some point, I'm like, are these people normal? If this boy has this level of pain, and someone who, in his right sense, is talking about football on his leg, but he has neck pain, he has mouth, in everything, and nobody actually. And one thing that actually baffles me the more is what is the substance that was given to him to drink?
Yes.
The substance, how come young children of 11 to 15, 16 marks have such substance in school? So, there is a lot, there is indeed a lot that the school has to do to really, really convince people that they are serious. If not, honestly, with this incident, one should think any parents that really, unless the school really does a lot, restructures a lot and rejigs a lot. But one of the things, like I said before, that they must do will be to have a CCTV because that could have given clues to what happened, you know, because these CCTVs are night vision, so they, it doesn't matter even, for the safety of the children as well, they should, because things could crawl in at night. So if CCTV is there, someone should say, okay, this person, why did you stand up? Why did you abuse? Because we're talking about only physical abuse here. We've had stories where it goes beyond physical abuse, and people are, other things happen. That these things, I believe, with CCTV for such big dormitory in one corner, mount the CCTV, and these things should be taken care of.
Just
Go
like
ahead.
the story that unfolded about the little girl, I just heard that. I'm surprised. The one that happened earlier this year. I'm not sure about the timing. I think earlier this year about the school student, a girl that they found. Think something about condom, and she died due to that. So all those
Exactly.
things
Yeah. Yes. There was this girl. Yes. I eventually she died as well, and they called the parents to come and pick her up. Eventually, I think it's happened so much time that the system. Everybody needs to really wake up and do the needful.
the
Thank you very
final
much.
final advice I'll be giving to the parents is legally, if you want this case to hold water, I'm not in support of their statement for those senior statement or the school statement. I'm in support of those friends of his coming out to debunk the claim of them playing football, like strongly debunking that because if they don't, the school has made it look like it was during a football match. But if those friends doesn't come out as witness, most times as a learned person, you would know that in order for a case to be to be substantial, you would need to have witnesses, people that will come out to say, okay, this is what happened, this is what really happened, this is what Sylvester has been passing through. And it's those his mates that can do that thing, not the parents' word for the school's word. So that's the
Yes.
advice I'm giving to the parents right now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. You're welcome, and
Thank
hope
you.
to have you another time. Thank you, and keep. I hope you're subscribed to the Media TV. Keep sharing and keep supporting what we do. Thank you once more. Thank you, Aredun. So, people, I would, like the other caller said, and like Oredum now also, who is a byproduct of dormitory, or rather boarding school, as some people may wish to call them. Maybe we are the old school we still call them dormitory. But be that as it may, it is indeed a sad story to listen, or listening to the father while he was making that. I honestly, I felt sad, and I say once more, may his soul rest in peace. On that note, because I do not want this conversation to drag for so long, we will be wrapping it up now, and I will say to us all, because it is now 5 minutes to 12 here in Nigeria. And I'll say to us, good night, good morning, good afternoon. For those of you who are watching from outside Nigeria, many of you in the United States, it is now your afternoon. Some of you in the Southeast Asia, it is now your morning. And I say good morning to you all. Once more, I am Mazi Ezoke. Please like, share this video. Let us also pray for the soul of the young man that has died, and we demand that justice be done so that others will not go this way. Thank you and good night.